75% of Colorado adults have gotten at least one dose of the vaccine. That's a better ratio than the number of healthcare workers who got the shot. The order to mask kids in schools in Tri-County Health's jurisdiction has all three counties talking about starting their own health department, all for different reasons. We're asking the Colorado senator who sits on the Intelligence Committee what sort of intelligence he can share with us about Afghanistan. We tackle the name of a town in Chaffee County that seems like it should have a Spanish pronunciation, but doesn't. And a sign that also might be the most Colorado thing we saw today. I'm Steve Stager in for Kyle Clark. This is Next. Colorado hit a major milestone today. 75% of adults in the state have now received at least one dose of the vaccine. Yet the percentage of healthcare workers who are vaccinated is lower than that. Mark Salinger looks into how the new vaccine mandate could impact the people whose job it is to take care of you when you get sick.
The days of asking nicely and offering incentives are over. Now it's get vaccinated or get out.
They will certainly lose some staff members. It's just a question of how many.
The State Board of Health passed a vaccine mandate for all healthcare workers in the state. That'll impact an estimated 30% of employees at hospitals, nursing homes, and other healthcare facilities in Colorado who are still unvaccinated. Doug Farmer is the president of the Colorado Healthcare Association, representing long-term care facilities.
People will just have to decide in Colorado whether they want to work in healthcare or whether they're willing to leave over their concerns around the vaccine.
A higher percentage of people in the general public are vaccinated compared to healthcare workers. Now the question becomes if the mandate will lead to even worse staffing shortages, like we've already seen throughout the pandemic.
It will be very difficult to replace employees that choose to leave over vaccine because your pool of potential employees is significantly smaller.
Throughout the pandemic, staffing has been our number one concern.
Josh Ewing is with the Colorado Hospital Association. While many hospital systems already required vaccines, he says the new mandate now levels the playing field. For example, an employee working at one hospital can't move to another with different rules to avoid being vaccinated. Now everyone has to get it.
The vast majority of hospital workers are vaccinated at this point, but it doesn't necessarily exist in other segments of our healthcare system.
Now we wait and see what the implications of the mandate will be on an industry already struggling to keep staff.
Now you hit this crossroads where it's, yes, you may end up having more people vaccinated, but it also may mean that you have fewer people.
You can look at this almost as a catch-22 for this industry under the current circumstances, with people threatening to quit over getting the vaccine. On one hand, you want as many people as possible to be vaccinated and protected from the virus. On the other hand, Steve, you don't want to lose so many people because of the vaccine mandate that you don't have enough employees to take care of the sick people.
That makes sense. And you would think that this is going to impact different parts of the states in different ways.
Exactly. And think about a small town, a small rural town, for example, that has a low vaccination rate, maybe 30 or 40%. If you have a couple people who quit from a nursing home, then it's going to be really hard to find vaccinated people to take their job when when there's a low vaccination rate in that town.
It's going to be the next tough struggle. Mark Salinger, thank you. Well, it's tough to be in a committed relationship, right, with three people at the same time. I'm not talking from experience here, trust me. But pretty soon, you're going to make one of those people unhappy. Today, Tri-County Health's director admitted he might have to end his health department's 50-year relationship with Douglas County. At least one of the three Republican commissioners there said that he's starting the process of dropping out of Tri-County and forming an independent health department in Douglas County. And he might not be alone. Every couple of weeks, Tri-County leaders meet with Douglas County leaders in this conference call. And today's had all the trappings to get awkward.
I felt the opt-out policy had made it increasingly challenging for me as the leader of the department to respond nimbly to new issues arising from the pandemic.
That's Dr. John Douglas. He leads the Tri-County Health Department. Late last year, after Republican Douglas County commissioners threatened to leave Tri-County and start their own health department, Dr. Douglas offered them an olive branch, the ability for all counties to opt out of public health orders. Tri-County took that opt-out privilege away last night.
I think the strident, and that's probably an understatement, disagreement over the mask wearing in school settings in the past 6 weeks has been really more challenging than any. I know the county will continue and maybe even accelerate conversations they're having about creating their own health department. I'm sorry that our 50-year history of serving Douglas County may be coming to an end, and that particularly sorry that it has come at such a divisive moment.
None of the Douglas County commissioners spoke during this morning's meeting, though one of them replied to a tweet from a conservative talk radio host saying he'd start the process of a separation today. Commissioners in Adams County have made similar threats for different reasons. The main one being they didn't like having to make the decision whether to opt out of the mask mandate. Today, the chair of the Adams County Commission, Ava Henry, told me she believes a majority of her commissioners are on board with standing up their own health department. They've even hired a consultant to look into it. And it sounds like Arapahoe County is thinking about something similar. The board chair responded to a question from the audience about it today.
All I can tell you is that studies are under review.
TriCounty Health Department's boss, Dr. John Douglas, said that they will continue to serve Douglas County until they're no longer needed, should they decide to go that route. TriCounty's budget's about $55 million a year, though much of that comes from federal funds and state funds. If each county has its own health department, each county would have to build its own funding model to pay for it. Election machines that have not been tampered with are now in place in Mesa County. Those are the new Dominion machines the county had to order. The old ones were compromised when Republican clerk Tina Peters allowed unauthorized access to the machines with the surveillance cameras turned off. Those old machines will be the topic of a public meeting tomorrow. Sharana Bishop, the former campaign manager for Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, requested that meeting over text with Mesa County commissioners. Now, Bishop wrote, "Our forensic team has the green light to come meet with you and go over the imaging. Tomorrow, we need 2 hours and invite anyone you need, especially your IT people, an attorney who have been whitewashing and explaining away the crime Dominion and the SOS committed." That's an end quote there. Let's be clear. The machines that Mesa County used in the 2020 election were audited by the state, like machines in every county. There was no funny business until the Republican county clerk turned off cameras and allowed a non-employee access to the voting machines ahead of the election. Now, the district attorney and FBI, they're investigating that. The U.S. military is now out of Afghanistan. As a member of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Democratic Senator Michael Bennet is privy to information that the public is not allowed to know about. That didn't stop politics guy Marshall Zellinger from asking him about it.
I always find it odd. I ask questions about you being on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and there's things you know that you can't talk about, but what do you know that you have questions about?
What I have questions about is the staging of the evacuation, and I think that there are questions about whether Bagram Air Force Base, for example, should have been closed or not, whether we should have had more troops in or not to do the evacuation sooner. I mean, these are all questions that I have, and we're going to have a lot of time, I think, in the coming months and maybe even years to ask questions not just about the last 20 days, but about the last 20 years in Afghanistan.
So are we wrong to not have any troops there?
No, I don't think so. Under the conditions that exist in the country, the decision that was made by the prior president and the expectations of people in Afghanistan, I think that we've made the right decision.
I know this is a hypothetical that is nearly impossible to answer, but if this were a Republican president or still President Trump and we're in the exact same scenario that played out, are you any more harsh toward the president than you are?
I think that's a really fair question. I was very negative about the way we withdrew from northern Syria, for example, where Donald Trump completely abandoned the Kurds. And I guess I'd say the difference between that and this situation is that we airlifted 126,000 people out of Afghanistan. Donald Trump airlifted 0 people out of northern Syria. So am I happy that there are still people left there? Of course not. You know, if there are people left there that still want to come out, this is a very tragic situation. Afghanistan is a tragic place. But I guess that's the distinction between a president that has tried, I think, to, under very difficult circumstances, to get people out, and somebody who turned his back on our allies in northern Syria.
You can see Marshall's full interview with Senator Bennet on the next YouTube channel and on 9news.com. Colorado remembers a one-of-a-kind leader.
Dick Lamb was my friend, but more importantly, He was Colorado's friend. I would say the best friend that this state ever had.
And the state is making sure he'll be remembered forever. A purse can be so much more than just a fashion accessory.
I guess they kind of lost faith in humanity, and so you see this glimmer of hope.
One group of women wants to share that hope with others. And after hearing your feedback about the way to pronounce a Colorado mountain community, we are setting the record straight. Next. The 31st day of August will forever be known as Governor Richard Lamb Day in Colorado. The state adopted a proclamation to honor the former governor today as he was laid to rest. Dick Lamb passed away last month at the age of 85. This afternoon, a memorial service was held at Wings Over the Rockies to honor the life and legacy of the man who served as Colorado's governor for 12 years. Former Mayor Wellington Webb delivered the eulogy. We also heard from Lamb's widow and former First Lady, Dottie.
I say goodbye, love of my life. We had a really good run. Now, pass your torch, release your spirit, raise your wings, and fly over the Rockies.
Lamb served 3 terms as governor from 1975 to 1987. He might be best known for convincing Coloradans to reject the bid to host the 1976 Winter Olympics in Denver.
Hot, hazy, and dry with afternoon temperatures in the mid-90s. We go cooler tomorrow with a bit less of the smoke and haze that being pushed northward. We're tracking the remnants of Hurricane Nora. We've got flash flood watch out for western Colorado, isolated storms on the eastern plains, but these slow-moving storms could mean flooding, rainfall, and mudslides in the major burn scar areas. Those planning travel into the high country due to all the heavy rain that's coming, call ahead and plan ahead. And that rain and cooler weather is headed for Denver. As we move through the next few hours, temperatures in the 90s will drop into the 80s. We have a cooling trend coming up Thursday and Friday with a good chance of rain, and then a slight drying trend for the holiday weekend with comfortable temperatures in the 80s.
We are getting some feedback about the correct way to pronounce the name of a Colorado city known as the heart of the Rockies. Sebastian, Charlie, William, and Erica, they all wrote in to question why the Chaffee County city we talked about last night does not have a Spanish pronunciation. As they correctly pointed out, the name is a Spanish word, but we know Coloradans have their own way of saying stuff. So we reached out to the city's Historic Preservation Commission to ask, what do you say?
Proper Spanish is Salida, but we do not pronounce it that way. Locally, it is Salida. In 1880, the Colorado area was one of the most uncivilized places in North America. And the men that were out here were rough and rugged. You had rail workers, miners, ranchers, outlaws. And when they first heard the name Salida, they thought it sounded dudeish, a dude being an East Coast gentleman. So they kind of found that an insulting phrase, and they started saying Salida. Well, this becomes a 20-year battle. For 20 years, the educated people are saying Salida. The rough people in town are saying Salida. Finally, in 1900, in one edition of the newspaper, you see one tiny little line and says, well, that settles it. It's going to be Salida. And it's stuck ever since.
There you have it, Salida. Where to next? Email us the names of places you want us to look into or reach out on social media. They understand the power of a purse, so this group of women called on the community to help.
Went by my office and talked to all the guys at work, and so they're raiding their mom's closets and, and their wives' closets.
Now they're ready to give back. And good neighbors and Subarus. It's just what Colorado's made of. There's a sign to prove that next. Throughout the pandemic, we've seen no shortage of Coloradans helping each other. Now there's a group of local women who are taking a simple accessory that many take for granted and putting it on the shoulders of those in need. Our Byron Reed gives us a look.
I don't think this one has a comb.
An act of kindness can go a long way.
Can you hand me a comb, Debbie?
When it comes to giving back to others.
This year, we're doing our second year of our purse project, where we're going to be delivering 240 purses to women's homeless shelters here in Denver.
Beth Bowen is the founder of She Leads Group.
She stands for Supporting Heart and Enterprise,
a women's networking organization that's been living up to its goal.
Our mission is women supporting women, and that's to support each other in any way possible. I think I need a razor.
The group has been collecting new and gently used purses and filling them with personal necessities.
We have feminine items to toothbrushes and toothpaste, deodorant.
As a way of showing their support for women in need.
We're going to actually bring enough purses for each shelter and then some, and then they'll all draw numbers to pick in that order. And they'll get to choose what purse on the table suits their style.
Last year we had 70. Our goal was 100 this year, and here we are with 240.
Donna Kidd is a member of the group and says the purses are a step to getting homeless women back on their feet.
The better you look and the better you feel and the more confidence you have in going about your day. And they have a hill to climb.
There's so many awesome purses here.
This group is busy putting their goodwill into action so they can support all women in more ways than one.
My hope is that it just makes their heart so joyful that they received this purse and that they know that there's this group of women that care about them and we want to make a difference in their life.
For Next.
Yes, we did it.
I'm Byron Reed.
The group will be handing out purses all week at women's homeless shelters around Denver. They're planning to do the purse project again next year as well. Well, someone lost their car key in Cheeseman Park, but lucky for them, they live in Colorado. That and your feedback are next. Let's put two together here. It's a sign of the most Colorado thing we saw today. You've seen lost dog posters, lost cat posters. How about a lost Subaru key poster? Our viewer Andrew stumbled on this in Cheeseman Park, a makeshift cardboard sign in the spot where someone found a key to a Subaru. Good Samaritan took the key, left their phone number in case. That car's owner ended up finding the sign. Maybe they came back to look. Looking out for your neighbor's Subaru is just second nature here. Send us the most Colorado thing you saw today or a sign by email or on social media. Mara Lee wrote in tonight, said, hey, you were just writing a story about lost Subaru keys. I was not paying close enough attention to see if it was in Louisville. It was not in Louisville, but if you found some Subaru keys in Louisville, help Mara Lee out. We can connect you. Next at 9news.com. Jacob writes in tonight. He said, why do you always, let's see, there it is. Please stop reporting the number of people with at least one COVID vaccine. You need both shots. The reason we did it tonight was because Colorado hit a milestone. Hopefully we hit another milestone of people fully vaccinated next time.